Well, hello. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Stephen. This week's blog is really inspired by a relatively brief conversation that I listened to on my satellite radio while I was driving home. I was listening to a simulcast of Tucker Carlson's show on Fox, and he was interviewing a woman who is currently filing a lawsuit against the state of Texas about voter ID laws. And you might ask, how does that relate to gun rights in general? And it does. It focuses primarily on a lot of the logical inconsistencies associated with those that are antagonistic towards voter ID laws. I look back to when I was in law school. One of the fundamental benefits of going to law school, and candidly there aren't a lot of them, but one of the fundamental benefits was that the law school structure forces the student to become a linear thinker, forces you to make sure that your argumentation on any particular point of fact is based on logic. And unfortunately, for those of us that are involved in the gun rights community, one of the more frustrating things that we deal with on a regular basis is that many of the laws, many of the policies that are originated in Sacramento, for those of us in California, are based really more on emotive desires than on logical basis. Either a legislator is looking to gin himself up within his constituency and really care less whether the law that he's trying to craft has any basis in actually reducing crime or anything else. And that's one of the things that's so unbelievably frustrating, because those of us that are on the other side of the aisle will look at these things and say, well, how do you argue? How do you, as a logical individual, argue against somebody who's based exclusively on an emotive position? And the short answer is that you don't. You usually fail, because typically speaking, emotions are always going to trump logic. We may feel good about ourselves because we've been able to develop this logical tree, but the reality is that those people that are basing their judgments exclusively on emotions could really care less. In any event, take a look at the blog. I think you'll find it interesting. Those of you who never went to law school, it gives you a little bit of an insight as to what it is, the kind of crap that we had to go through. But it also shows how individuals can become very pigeonholed in their desires. And a lot of times they'll create a logical argument that they feel is absolutely perfect for the one specific thing that they're arguing. But when that same logic is applied to something else, like gun rights, they suddenly become a little bit more antagonistic towards it. In any event, as always, if you have any questions or you'd like to comment on the article, always feel free to email me at stephen@artemishq.com. And like I always say, train constantly, train consistently, and train with purpose. Thank you for joining me. Until next week, enjoy the blog, and thank you for watching.